Alright, so previous day we learned about the kidney, the what are the different like structures and forms of them are present there. So the like label diagram of the kidney we have done, and I expect you all have practiced it at home. So this main purpose of this entire organ is for like maintaining the osmoregularity of the body, or to maintain the homeostatic balance. Now that actually imply that the entire body, whatever processes are going on, every single processes are actually dependent on the level of ionic balance that is there in the body, and it is this particular organ which is responsible for maintaining that balance. Now mostly whatever metabolic processes it runs in the body, it produces a large amount of harmful secondary metabolites. Those metabolites are responsible for creating, or rather we should say disrupting, the osmolarity of the cells and everything, so that the cells wouldn't be able to function. Now it is this organ responsible for filtering out all those harmful waste, those excess secondary metabolites, the one which turn out to be the waste, and all of those the removal of all of that lead to like maintaining a perfect condition to the body, or in the body, and that helps in the like proper runnings of the system, every single organ, if they function properly and nicely. So what actually happened during this time is, like we have this nephron. As you know, this is the main structure, or the main like the functional unit of the kidney. So the nephron, it has, like already we have know the different structure. So the renal corpuscle or the Malpighian corpuscle right here, it is a place where the main filtration it takes place. Means when the waste, like the blood carrying all the waste, it comes right here, then all this waste, they actually come out from this particular place into the glomerulus, from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. I'm sorry. So when it comes into the Bowman's capsule, from there this entire thing, they go into this renal tubules, this long stretch of renal tubule that are there. So first it enter the proximal convoluted tubule, then through that it actually go through the loop of Henle into the distal convoluted tubule, and finally the urine will be formed, and urine will go with the through the collecting duct into the bladder. Now when that is happening, it is actually like the entire process, it is done in two steps. First step is where the waste filled blood that is being brought by the arteries, the renal artery, it enters through the nephron via the afferent arteriole, and then it transforms into this capillary, this large number of capillaries inside, which is called the glomerulus. And once it like goes through that area, the very first step that takes place, which is like the main filtration process, is what is known as the ultrafiltration, the step of ultrafiltration. And after the ultrafiltration is all done, so the waste material, they go into the, like from the Bowman's capsule into the proximal convoluted tubule. But right there something more actually happened. The glomerulus then come out in the form of efferent arteriole, and when in this efferent arteriole there will be a large amount of waste present. So this means the blood that is running through it, we actually carries a large amount of waste, and then all of this blood capillary, they actually coil up the entire renal tubule. This coiling is like this different capillaries that we see here, this large number of capillaries that we see here, it is called the vasa recta, and then the peritubulary capillaries that are there present in between. So all of those vessels, they actually again circulate the blood through the entire of the nephron. While doing that, whatever excess remaining waste material, it is still there in those capillaries, they are actually going to get absorbed by the renal tubule. Plus during this ultrafiltration stage, large amount of water also get inside this renal tubule. That excess water will also be sent back along with the healthy, or actually necessary, minerals that will be sent back into the blood. Now once that all thing like gets over, then the blood will go through the renal venule, into the renal veins, and this is the like purified blood that is going out. So first step which is going on right here in this renal corpuscle is known as ultrafiltration, and the secondary absorption or exchange of the ions and fluid in this renal tubule region and the capillary region is what is known as the step of reabsorption. So we can say that the entire process of nephron, like the work, like filtration process, whatever is going on in the nephron, it can be broken down into these two steps: the ultrafiltration here and the reabsorption right here. So we will be discussing about the ultrafiltration step in detail, like how it happens today. So here we see like this is a cross section of the Bowman's capsule, isn't it? So the Bowman's capsule, it comprises of, first of all, this like outer layer, which is just like the like thin layer of single line epithelium, you can say. One layer of epithelium is what makes up the entire outer surface. You can see that the blood is coming inside through this afferent arteriole. Let me write the name here. So the afferent arteriole is what is bringing the blood here. Okay, and then when the entire process it gets over, then through the efferent arteriole that we find that the blood is going out. Now this will go straight into like form the periturbary capillaries later on, and right there we see that this is the glomerulus. This large number of capillaries that will be formed here will be called the glomerulus. Now it is right here that we find that that the Bowman's capsule, it will have its inner layer. Its inner layer means the outer layer is epithelium here, and the inner layer is what is going to be of slightly different shape. Different shape in the sense, I don't know if you remember that the capillaries, all form of capillaries are made up of, again, only a single layer of epithelium. If you remember from the previous chapter, we have studied that it is made up of only a single layer of epithelium, isn't it? So this single layer epithelium can easily let every material to get exchanged through it. I'm not drawing the entire structure because it will become a bit haphazard then. So this entire thing here we will find that it is made up of this single layer of epithelium, isn't it? Now this single layer of epithelium can help in diffusion of blood material and everything. Right there we will find a special kind of cell that will be present, which is the inner layer of the Bowman's capsule. This cell, it has structure. I'll draw it separately so that you understand. So all of this cell, they have this kind of shape. This is a round epithelium. So we have the nucleus right here, and it is right there that it grab the epithelium of the blood vessel. Okay, so this cell is known as the podocytes. This cell is known as the podocytes. This one is just because it actually has these feet-like projections from it. Okay, and this is the epithelium of the capillaries. Epithelium of the capillaries. Okay, so what is happening there is, through this capillary, whatever blood is being carried, means like it is having blood vessels, like a large amount of blood is actually traveling through it. So let's make it a little bit. So this blood that is being running through this area, so it has this large amount of the particles, the dissolved particles, solute and everything. It is all present right there. Okay, so all the solute particle, it actually get absorbed by this podocyte, and then it enters straight into the Bowman's capsule, because this is the inner chamber of the Bowman's capsule. This area is the inner chamber of the Bowman's capsule. So right there, due to this like podocytes, all the solute particle, they are going to get absorbed, like diffusion, you can say definitely that this diffusion is taking place from the blood into that particular chamber. Now this diffusion is what is known as the step of ultrafiltration. Now when we talk about ultrafiltration, it is all because of this podocyte truly, but it is podocyte which is not actually responsible for the entire thing. There are many things happening there. Most of all, like there are definitely like the blood, blood is coming through this particular chamber, I mean this capillaries and all. Okay, it is traveling through here slowly and slowly, like the blood is traveling through here, going through every single part. Now definitely it being a fluid, it will have some sort of hydrostatic pressure of its own. Okay, this hydrostatic pressure is what is leading the blood, like whatever solute particle from the blood that are there, to get inside the Bowman's capsule. Okay, means this pressure that is there inside, it is helping in the diffusion of particle into this Bowman capsule. This pressure is known as the glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure. Okay, glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure, known as GBHP in short. Okay, next there will be another pressure working there. This pressure is when all this like fluid and everything, they get inside this chamber, because when this diffusion is taking place, the diffusion is not like the solute particles, means the urea and all these things. Not only those urea, but water also get inside, mineral also get inside the Bowman's capsule. Everything they go inside. Okay, everything will actually diffuse inside. Even glucose, everything will go inside. Those material, it actually will create this liquid, whatever is there present inside this Bowman's capsule, will actually generate another pressure which will work like opposite to it, opposite to this particular pressure. This is known as, sorry, so this will be known as, this is like inside this like the capsule. Okay, Bowman's capsule, the pressure is also will be found in this area also, means the entire renal tubule. So this is known as capsular hydrostatic pressure, or CHP in short. CHP in short. Another pressure will be there which is called the blood colloid osmotic pressure, which is BCOP. This pressure is exerted by the blood that is present through the like glomerulus and everything. So whatever particles are there, so these particles which are non-diffusible, which will not get diffused, the protein and everything that is present in the blood, every single thing right here, so this will not go back into this chamber, but it will actually create a reverse diffusion right here, which will which is like a negative pressure running in this area. It's a negative pressure for this area. So this pressure is trying to bring the everything back into the blood. So that pressure is known as this blood colloid osmotic pressure. Now when we talk about the amount of fluid that is going inside here, means the ultrafiltration, the rate of the ultrafiltration, that process is known as yes, you can see here, glomerular filtration rate, GFR in short. Now GFR is directly, like, it can be calculated, or you can say actually, yeah, you can write it like that way. It is actually directly proportional or equals to, you can say, net filtration rate, or no, we can write it like net filtration pressure. First of all, net filtration pressure, which is like, this is like directly proportional. The GFR is directly proportional to this. So net filtration pressure is actually GBHP minus BCOP plus CHP. Now what does it mean? What does it mean? This means that this GBHP, or the glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure, is actually making all those material get into this particular chamber. So this GBHP is the one which is leading to formation of the glomerular filtrate. Okay, but at the same time, this -2 pressure, both of these are negative pressure, which is trying to send everything back into the blood vessel. So that is also working. So the net pressure will be definitely the GBHP minus both this negative pressure. So the entire thing will be like of, like, the GBHP has been calculated as 50 mmHg. Okay, 50 mmHg, and the BCOP, it is around 30 mmHg, and the CHP is around 15 mmHg. Okay, so it means I can write the entire thing as mmHg. Okay, so it is actually this change in the pressure which is leading in the, like, filtration of all the material. So the value will be, this is 30, 45, so it is 10 mmHg. That is the net filtration pressure. So this 10 mmHg pressure is what is leading to formation of the glomerular filtrate, and the GFR is usually calculated as, the amount of, like, fluid getting out per minute. That is the GFR count, and from there we can actually calculate that every single minute the GFR, or glomerular filtrate, is actually around 125 ml per minute, which is 180 liter per day. That is the amount of filtration that is going on every single moment, every single day. Per minute 125 ml of the urine is being produced. So this is the, like, entire process, how we can actually find out. So the net filtration rate is actually, net filtration pressure, is actually whatever is, like, the pressure which exert right here, which helps in expulsion, or like diffusion of all the solute or waste material from here into the Bowman's capsule. Then through that it will be carried to the proximal converter tubule. Okay, so we'll talk about the reabsorption in another class, but here this is actually the generalized idea about the ultrafiltration that is going on.